Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is, as Dumitru Duduman was told by the Angel Gabriel back in 1984, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution, started by the communists. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government would be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, and two of the countries you cannot remember will attack and defeat America in one day, in 1 hour. So great riches will come to naught. The question today is, could it be that this revolution prophesied all the way back in 1984, could it be that it's about to take place? Could it be that it's in 23 or 24? What if it is in 23? What if it is in the month of August? Could it be? Could it be it's about to happen? That's what we're going to be talking about today. You don't want to miss any of this. And I can tell you right up front, I'm going to talk a lot from the heart. I'm just going to share my heart today. And I've got a little bit of additional information, but I'm going to talk from my heart today. Because I've been carrying this message since I heard it in about February of 1987. That's a long time to carry a message, telling people that don't want to hear it, that don't believe you, that walk away, that pull the shade down and enter the conversation. But I still continue to tell people. Now, before we get started, I remind you, Jason Meeks had a dream, I believe it was God, and said that there's a financial difficulty coming and that people should begin to join the Prophecy Club. And they join by setting up a $9.95 automatic monthly donation. And I encourage you to do that. And you do that by just going right back down. I don't know if it's this way. I need to look and see. Anyway, there's a QR code down there. And just pull out your camera on that QR code and it will direct you to become a member. And also let me remind you that it is summertime. And summertime is the slowest time of the year for Prophecy Club. And unfortunately, this is no exception. Things are getting rather tight around here. If God has blessed you, you can help us. Now would be a really, really good time. Also, want to remind you to click subscribe, click the bell, and also share this with your friends. Remind you also every Friday night Bible study, live streaming. You can ask questions 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch it at prophecyclub.com, Facebook, YouTube. It's not just Bible prophecy. We actually read the Bible. And this past Friday night, I did cover 2 chapters that are talking about American Bible prophecy, and several people said they really found it interesting and informative. All right. I covered this the other day, but I think this is really, really important. So this is from Donald Trump, and this was right after, he didn't have a date on it, but this is right after he was indicted the 3rd time in Washington, D.C. No way I can get a fair trial or even close to a fair trial in Washington, D.C. There are many reasons for this, but just one is that I'm calling, now look at this, I'm calling for a federal takeover of this filthy and crime-ridden embarrassment to our nation, Washington, D.C. Now, exactly what is he saying? Is he saying that they need to vote the rascals out? Or is he saying a military operation? Is he hinting that there's about to be an internal revolution? Remember, it said the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. Meaning, if Donald John Trump, that I believe won the election, had actually been placed in office, there probably wouldn't be an internal revolution. But started by the communists probably means that they didn't put him in when he actually won. Again, I'm just talking from the heart today. It's what I believe. Could it be that this 4th indictment, and could it be that they've finally seen that now with a state indictment that he could actually be put in jail? Could it be that it's going right through the season when he's supposed to be out campaigning for his presidency? Could it be that they've said, final, time out, that's enough? We're calling it quits. We're not going to put up with this anymore. Could it be that there's a plan to send in the military? Now, I understand the devil is able to see the future too. He has a time machine. I believe that they can move back and forth in time to any place, anytime, any place on the globe they want to, maybe even any place in the galaxy. I don't know. But we also know that they have a looking glass. They can see the future. So they're not fooled on what is coming. Could it be that some of the events, like the Maui fire, is all because they know it's about to start? Both sides know it's about to start. Now, let me read on. Washington, D.C., where murders have just shattered the all-time record. Other violent crimes have never been worse, and tourists have fled. The federal takeover is very unpopular with political area jurors, but necessary for safety, greatness, and for all the world to see. Now, he does go on to say jurors. So I want to believe that it's not a military takeover, just because I don't want to see our nation go down. But it may be that that's the only thing they can do. Now, let's go to another tweet. This was, I think, yesterday, might have been for the day before. A large, complex, detailed, but irrefutable report on the presidential election, which took place in Georgia, is almost complete and will be presented by me at a major news conference at 11 a.m. Monday of next week in Bedminster, New Jersey. Based upon the results of this conclusive report, now look carefully. All charges should be dropped against me and others. There he said should be, not will be. Should be. But then he goes on to say, there will be a complete exoneration. Does he know something we don't know? Does he know that the military is really in charge of America and that the military really takes orders from him? Does he know that at any time he could have called, well, kind of like Jesus could have called 12 legions of angels to stop the crucifixion? Could it be that Trump has the authority to stop it any time he wants to and is about to say, I've had enough? All charges should be dropped against me and others, and there will be a complete exoneration. They never went after those that rigged the election. They only went after those that fought to find the riggers. Now, again, I'm talking from the heart today. Here are some events to watch for. If the internal revolution is close, we would begin to see great turmoil in political circles. Things like indicting a former president, and some say the real legitimate president, 4 times. Would you call that great turmoil in political circles? I would. Then you would start seeing nations ramping up for war, like North Korea is ramping up. They just announced that they are basically building bombs and missiles as fast as they possibly can, which fits with the dream that, or I guess you'd actually call an angel visitation, that Vicky Goforth Parnell had about a week, well, actually she had it a while back, but she just released it recently, that North Korea has agreed to come into the battle with Russia. When Russia attacks America, North Korea is going to be there too. Remember that part of the prophecy said started by the communists. Well, all of this is all done by the Democrats or the left, or Molochs, as we really should be calling them. The fall of the dollar. You would expect to see the fall of the dollar because that's part of the new system without the devil in it coming in. Also, we were told by Shane Warren, that had a vision back in 2010, that the dollar would fall. It would be worthless as leaves blowing in the wind, and the thing that would start it was when they started selling oil in some other currency other than the dollar. This is now the second purchase that we know of. India just was sold oil, and they paid for it in rupees. Now, there's some more interesting events. We're working on another whole well-investigated program. But right now, just off the top of my head, here's a couple of them. Lahaina, Maui just got burned. Quote, one guy said, we had the fire under control until they shut off the water. Why would you shut off the water when there was just a fire reported? Well, maybe they wanted it to burn. Why would they want it to burn? Well, maybe bad people in high places wanted to take over the #1 vacation spot in the world for their own. Also, the electricity was shut off. Oh, well, it was supposedly started by a telephone pole blowing over, and the electrical wires started the fire. Actually, what the guy says is, I saw a tree fall on the electrical wires, and that started the fire. We had it under control until they turned the water off. But they not only turned the water off, they turned the electricity off. Now, some would say, well, they turned the water off because they shut the electricity off. Yeah, well, in most places, the water is pumped up into a tower, and it would take probably a day or two to empty the water out of that tower. So in that the water was turned off at the precise wrong time makes me think, no, it wasn't electricity that turned off the water. It was a valve being turned at exactly the wrong time, or if you want to see the place burn, maybe it was exactly the right time. More. Also, Maui is used to getting all kinds of storms all the time. And they are used to moving when they hear those sirens, those warning sirens going off. And they, like everybody else in America, they test them once a month. However, when the fire started, the reports are there was no warning sirens giving. Could it be that there was a plan that they actually wanted to kill the owners of the property so that it would make it easy to assume the property at giveaway prices? Okay, so put that all together. So let's assume the best. Let's assume that wind did blow over the telephone pole, and that's what started the fires. How do you explain when they turn the water off, they turn the electricity off, and there's no sirens going off? Well, wait a minute, Stan. If the electricity goes off, then maybe the sirens couldn't go off. Wait a minute. Don't you think that they had battery backup? Don't you think they had preparation for that? This is a place that's used to having a lot of storms. Unless they wanted to take the property. And then, by the way, something rather interesting, maybe it's nothing, but I saw an article that said Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey, and other wealthy elites actually own homes on Maui, but none of them burned. Well, maybe none of them were close enough to burn. Maybe. But I saw a video of some really nice homes, and all of the homes around those really, really nice homes were burned. But those $20 million vacation mansions were not touched. But again, we're doing an investigation. We plan to talk more about that later. Then there's the attempts of food, water, and supplies to be brought to residents, and they're actually being blocked. They're said, no, you can't take the food in. You can't take the supplies in. Why? Well, it wasn't cooked in an official kitchen. You didn't have permission from the powers that be to bring it in. Also, it's rather interesting that the man in charge to oversee that everything is done decently in order with the Maui fires just happens to be the same guy that oversaw the Las Vegas shootings. And of course, the truth might not have ever come out. At least there were a lot of questions not answered. Is that just happenstance? You see, is it just happenstance that the electricity was shut off, that the water was shut off, there was no sirens, and the big homes were not burned, and the man in charge just happens to be the same guy that was in charge of Las Vegas? Does that raise an eyebrow for you? It does for me. Okay, let's get back to the topic of the fall of America. We'll start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. This was on the Donald Trump Truth Social website moments ago. New legal watchdogs say D.A. Willis' indictment is a clumsy overreach that fails to provide proof President Trump knowingly agreed to facilitate a RICO scheme or conspiracy and criminalizes Trump's tweets, phone calls to his VP, and even the drafting and delivery of POTUS speeches. Could it be the internal revolution is about to start? So let me go through it again, And I encourage you, look, you can get the DVD at watchprophecyclub.com. At Prophecy Club. You can watch it instantly at watchprophecyclub.com. I encourage you to do it. Anyway, I'm going to suggest that you pause and read that. That's a summary of the most important thing that Dumitru was told by the Angel Gabriel after surviving 5 months of torture in a Romanian prison. All right. Also, I've covered this many times. I suggest you pause and reread it. But here's the thing I want to point out. So the thing that starts, where we're going with this, is the U.S. military is going to take charge and basically take over the federal government. The thing says it starts right after the dollar drops 30%, and that is in progress right now. Then there's a food shortage crisis. That has already started, although it hasn't hit our kitchen yet. Riots. We've already had riots, but they were a couple of years ago. But it all could start taking place. If this is in the order, then we would expect to see an earthquake before it happens. So that may be a good news. So maybe we've got some time, maybe we don't. The article today I want to cover is Nuclear War is Imminent, North Korea. The world is just a step away from nuclear conflict, the article says. North Korean Defense Minister General Kang Sun-nam said in a statement made public on Tuesday. The official blamed Washington's desire for a regime change in Pyongyang for ratcheting up tensions. He also accused the U.S. of increasing its military presence in the region by deploying nuclear-capable aircraft and a submarine to the area. In other words, America is kicking sand on the feet of the North Koreans. Now the question is, not if a nuclear war breaks out on the... This is the North Koreans saying this, okay? This is this guy, their defense minister saying this, okay? So he's sort of shooting his mouth off a little bit. Either that, or maybe he's telling things he really shouldn't tell. This is the person in the right position to know. Now the question is not if there's going to be a nuclear war breakout on the Korean Peninsula. Did you catch that? He's not saying there's no longer a question whether there's going to be a war. The question is when. There's not a question if nuclear war breaks out on the Korean Peninsula, but who and when it starts. The U.S. sent massive strategic arms to the region, so he's blaming the U.S., and the truth is probably we are doing it. Including a nuclear-capable submarine, an aircraft carrier group, and a nuclear-capable bomber. So he's saying that America started it. Look, if you want to get into a fist fight, there's lots of things you can do to get into a fist fight. And the same thing, at this point, apparently North Korea is trying to start a war with America, and with the things America's done, it's getting pretty easy. As I've said, I think that America's evil leadership is actually causing the nations to attack America. The U.S. Navy's Carrier Strike Group 11, led by its flagship, the aircraft carrier USS Nimitz, arrived at a South Korean military port in late March, soon after Pyongyang unveiled its new, smaller nuclear warheads, which can supposedly be mounted on short-range ballistic missiles. In late June, these are the things we've done to anger the North Koreans. In late June, the U.S. B-52 strategic bomber took part in joint drills with South Korea. Again, angering North Korea. Just 2 weeks later, America also deployed its Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine, the USS Kentucky, to South Korea. Armed with 20 Trident II ballistic missiles, the undersea vessel carries a total of 80 nuclear warheads. The U.S., which has been waging a hostile state policy against North Korea for 80 years. Okay, so North Korea is saying, look it, you guys have been trying to have war with us for a long time, and we've been turning the other cheek. But we're done turning the other cheek. North Korea, in so many words, I think, is confirming what Vicky Parnell was told. North Korea has agreed to attack America as soon as Russia does. The article goes on to say Washington must admit to its belligerent policy against Pyongyang and abandon its confrontational approach if it truly wants to resolve the crisis in a peaceful way. But Until America does that, any dialogue is impossible. Okay, what's he just say? See, as long as two people are talking, the fists aren't going to fly. But when the talking stops, that's when the fighting starts. What North Korea just said is, we're done talking. In other words, we're not talking to America anymore. Next thing that happens is nuclear war. That's what they just said. Nothing but an empty echo, and the only way to prevent nuclear war at this point for Pyongyang is to possess military means of deterrence. In other words, we are getting ready to attack America. That's what North Korea is really saying here. I think this article is a confirmation Vicky Parnell heard from God. Kang also declared that North Korea would no longer consider U.S. drill suspensions or other similar steps to genuine manifestations of goodwill by the U.S. Washington. All right, no, what they're saying is it used to be that America would have drills with South Korea all the time. And the way the U.S. would say, okay, we're going to have peace, we're going to suspend one of the drills. North Korea is saying, that's not good anymore. That's not good enough. That's not going to make us happy anymore. He goes on to say, we're well aware of the fact that the aggressive intention of the U.S. is to strip us of our nuclear weapons and to destroy our system through brute force. North Korea is saying, we're done talking. You can't do anything to stop a war from starting. Now, remember what the prophecy said, the fall of America would start with an internal revolution in America. And it may very well be that internal revolution is going to start in 23 or 24. It might even start in 23, and it might even start in August 2023. Do I know that? No. But we're watchmen. So what do? We watch. We look around, we say, okay, is there any reason I believe it's about to rain? Yeah, I can smell it in the air. Do you have any other reason you believe it's about to rain? Well, yes, the clouds are getting dark and it's getting overcast. Well, is there any other reason? Well, yes, I can look on the horizon and I can see showers falling over there and the clouds are heading this way. Well, is there another reason? Well, yes, actually, there's thunder and lightning all over us from the direction it's coming. Wow. That's, if we look at what's happening, we can see the dollar's about to fall. We can see nations angry at America, about to attack. Nations that have the nuke that can back up what they're saying. The general words came just days after North Korean leader Kim Jong-un ordered heightened preparation for the war, including increasing the production of weapons. He also called for top officers to carry out drills with the country's latest weaponry to ensure that troops are ready for potential conflict. So let's go back to high school. Two guys are about to fight. If you see one of them take off his nice shirt, if you see another one rolling up his sleeves, you think war is about to start between those two guys? And do you also think that if they're about to go to fight, probably the word would have spread around high school, at least this is the way it was when I was in high school, and the crowd would have started gathering because they want to watch the fight. All of those things are in place. America is about to be attacked. We see the signs. We see an internal revolution about to start. We see the dollar about to fall. Here's another one. Charlie Ward newsletter. Hi, guys. There's so much going on this week. The complete fall of the cabal, the collapse of everything. What? What is the cabal? Well, that's another word for saying of ball. That's not B-A-L. That's not B-A-L-L. That's B-A-A-L. Those are the people that worship Moloch Baal. He's saying there's so much going on this week, there's about to be a complete collapse of the cabal. In other words, of our current system that is ruling the world. That says to me, that says internal revolution. is about to start. Let's go on. We see Mike Lindell expose the Bidens. We're seeing everything come together. Everything I predicted would happen is now happening. As we move across into the new quantum financial system, what? Wait a minute. What is the quantum financial system? Well, rumor has it that it is a digital system that's not the CBDC. This is not what the Federal Reserve puts out. This is what the white hats put out. This is what the good guys bring in to stop the CBDC, the Federal Reserve, from coming out with their digital system, so I'm told. The quantum financial system is eventually going to be hooked into Starlink, hooked into a quantum computer, hence the name quantum financial system. And everything in the quantum financial system must be backed by assets. Look, I've read this. This comes to us from, what is this? I forget the location now. I've read it several times, but it's been a couple of years. Let me read it again. As we move across into the new quantum financial system, debts will be forgiven. Now, I understand that would be like banking debts and national debts, but not personal debts, although I'd like to see personal debts forgiven. Loan contracts are not transferable from the old fiat currency to the new quantum financial system. If that's true, that means that everybody's car, everybody's house is all paid off. Wouldn't that be nice? He says, we're living in very exciting times. Keep your eyes open. Now, what could cause that? Let's go back and look. He says that the complete fall of the cabal, the collapse of everything, is at hand. He says that the new quantum financial system means the debts, hopefully all of the debts, will be forgiven. What happens with that? That means that the dollar falls. There's a new system brought in, not based upon the dollar, not based upon the Federal Reserve, not based upon, this is a full faith of the United States of America. In other words, this is actually asset-backed. Remember the dream that Daniel Davis had, where he saw a man step to the microphone and say, ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. The United States, as you have known it, has ceased to exist. All property lines are dissolved, and the U.S. dollar is worthless. Is that where this is going to end up? Prophecies say yes. And I'm going to end it there. Brothers and sisters, get ready. Get you some of that Joseph Kitchen food. Call CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. Get you an EMP Shield device. Use the promo code PROPHECY. It could happen. It could happen this month, August 2023. In my opinion, the very best choice is wheat. The world did not live on rice, pasta, and beans for 7 years. During the Pharaoh and Joseph incident back in the Egyptian times of Moses, actually this is not exactly Moses' times, but you know what I'm talking about. They lived off of wheat. Well, where do you get wheat? Well, there's thousands of different varieties of wheat. If you get the wrong variety of wheat, your bread doesn't rise, and you got a brick. You got a cooked brick of wheat. So you got to know what you're doing, and Joseph's Kitchen can help you to do that. I suggest that you go to Joseph's Kitchen. Here's what you want to do. Go and get a machine package. This is the mechanical things you need to grind the wheat berries into flour, put the flour into a bread machine along with 6 other ingredients, push about 2 hours, 20 minutes later, it cooks the loaf for you. And you can even do it in your barbecue pit if you have to. Anyway, then you decide how much food you want. You want food for 1 person a year, 2 people a year, 4 people a year, 6 people a year. And most of these places charge you $9,000 or $10,000 to feed 1 person for 1 year. Did you catch that? $9,000 to $10,000, 1 person, 1 year. Joseph's Kitchen can show you how to do it for about $1,000 per person per year. It's good food. The kids will eat it, and it's good for you. josephskitchen.com. And I think there's some kind of benefit if you enter the promo code of prophecy. One of the things that I am prepared in is I've got some silver. Now, you may get gold, silver, rhodium, palladium, whatever you want to get. But I got silver. And I got it from cornerstoneassetmetals.com. When things break apart, at least I know I can go down and trade some silver in, and maybe that's what makes my house payment so I don't lose my house. Maybe that's what makes my car payment. And you're probably not going to make your house payment with a few loaves of bread or your car with a few loaves of bread. So there's a place where bread is not the right thing. There's a place where having gold and silver is the thing. On the other hand, you can't stand at a table handing out silver coins. Can't eat them. I mean, they're good if you can trade them. But if there's nothing to trade them for, then they're just silver, they're just gold. But what I'm trying to say is there's a place for silver and gold, there's a place for bread. I suggest you call cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Just say they're Christians, they're prophecy students, they love Prophecy Club, they love Prophecy Club people. Call them and say, okay, this is my situation. What do you suggest? josephkitchen.com, I recommend them. Also, what I'm about to cover is that there's actual plan to shut off our electricity. There's an east and a west and a Texas grid. There's 3 grids in America. This system, I have something very similar to this system, but this system just came out and I've checked it out, and this is very, very nice. These batteries have a 25-year warranty on them. In other words, you get this system, you plug it in, and you hope you never need it. But when everybody else's electricity goes out, it's nice to have electricity. As a matter of fact, I guess it's about 10 days ago, our electricity went out here, and my lights blinked. That's all it did. My lights blinked. I walked out. It was very, very, very strange when your lights are on and you look all the way down to the left, all the way down the street to the right, and it's all dark. It's all black. Everybody else's lights are off. And you're standing on your porch and your lights are on. There was some people out walking their dog. They walked by the front and I said, are the lights out all the way around the corner? And they said, yeah, as far as we can see, the lights are out. And I had electricity. And the lights came back on like just a minute or two later. They weren't off very long. But it made me feel really good knowing that when the electricity goes off, I've got some kind of a backup. Next is, I'll send you to EMPShield.com. If you use the promo word prophecy, you get a $50 discount. What is that? Well, it looks like this. This is the one that goes into a car, okay? And you put the red wire to the red side of the battery, you put the black wire to the black side of the battery, and the green one attaches to the body of the car. Then you peel it off right back here. Just peel that off, stick it inside of the engine compartment of your car, and the whole point is when the electricity goes off or when some kind of a suitcase nuclear device goes off, this is supposed to be able to stop that device from destroying every computer chip in your car. Because if every computer chip is destroyed in your car these days, you couldn't possibly replace them all. Throw the car away. So, EMPShield.com, promo code PROPHECY.